This is the kind of occasion we all relish as football fans. Non-stop hype all week long, and now for the action. Hello and welcome to the south coast of England. We're here at the Amex Stadium. My name is Derek Ray, and sitting alongside me in the commentary box, providing expert analysis, is Stuart Robson. And looking forward to bringing you action from the Premier League.
Hello, welcome back to Armchair Armory, and I hope those of you out there, well, everybody out there, enjoyed their New Year's Day. I'm recording this on the 2nd of January, so we're 2 days into 2025, and already we've got another game on Saturday. Brighton and Hove Albion at the Amex at 5:30, exactly the same time as the Brentford game. I mentioned it a little bit in my match reaction after the 3-1 win over Brentford at the G-Tech. This is another team that we've struggled against in the past. This is another team, not necessarily in the last couple of seasons. Hopefully I'm not saying that prematurely, and that we've actually done worse against them over the last couple of seasons. But I think in the last seasons away, we've not done too badly against them. I'm just looking at the last five now. So yeah, the last result we had with them was a draw. 1-1. I believe that was when. Oh no, it wasn't. Oh yeah. So that was earlier on in the season with the Declan Rice sending off. But yeah, since then in the last 5, 2 obviously we've played away. We've beaten them both times. So yeah, the last couple of seasons we've not done too badly there. But I remember sort of when Arteta first came in and sort of the end of Emery, they were a little bit of a bogey team. Obviously, they all but ended our. Oh no, yeah. What was that? No, that was the. Sorry, I said this in the reaction to Brentford, that it was when we were going for top 4. I think was it when we went for top 4? I think that might have actually been the league. That actually might have been 2 seasons ago. I'm just going on Arsenal's website now to check results. 23-24. No, 22-23 is what I need, don't I? Oh yeah. It was the first season that we went for the league. It was the first season where we lost the league to City by 5 points. Yeah. We'd beaten Chelsea and Newcastle and put ourselves in a great position, or a reasonable position, to sort of take it to the last day. And unfortunately, yeah, we lost 3-0 to Brighton and 1-0 to Nottingham Forest. And yeah, that sort of all but ended our. I think the 3-0 loss to Brighton was like one nail in the coffin, and then the 1-0 loss to Nottingham Forest was like, oh yeah, you're going to be put in the incinerator now. That's it. Yeah, so for some reason I thought it was the season before. Why was I thinking that? Because I think we did lose to Brighton in that season as well, in 21-22. I think we did lose to Brighton in that season. I'm just going through now. Yeah, we lost at the Emirates 2-1. Trossard scored against us, apparently. And where are we going? Yeah, that was the Premier League. I think it was. Yeah, it was the Premier League. And then at the Amex, where are we? It was 0-0. And obviously there's the famous Neil Mopai moment, you know, the viral meme that we've all seen of Ty from AFTV doing "You're an absolute disgrace" to the camera about Mopai, you know, absolutely shithousing Arsenal. And, you know, some conspiracy theorists would say that he caused the injury to Bernd Leno in that game, and then, you know, goes and scores the winning goal. Yeah, so they have been a bit of a bogey team for us over the last couple of, not necessarily the last couple of years completely, but yeah, like that 3-0 I mentioned, and obviously the Bernd Leno moment with Neil Mopai and all that. There's always been something about Brighton, and obviously we brought a lot of their players, a couple of their players, Ben White and Trossard, and we're actually linked with Evan Ferguson as well, their striker, who hasn't really played too much this season. But he had a pretty good season last season, so maybe it's something that we look to revitalize. I don't know, but the one thing I will say, going back to talking about the transfer window, is that I'm in the genuine consensus of most Arsenal fans that I think we at least need to sign one attacking player. If it's looking like that Bukayo Saka is going to be out for the whole season, we do need someone in that position. I don't think we can just count on Nwaneri because he's a kid. I think he's amazing. He played really well against Brentford, and when he has played and started, he's played really well. He's done well for himself. And the jury's still out on Sterling. I'm not like a lot of these fans that have already written Sterling off just because he hasn't played. And when he has played, he hasn't set the world alight. But I'm still sort of like, give him a chance. He hasn't had a chance to play yet, or hasn't had a full run in the team, etc., etc. It's looking like it's a bit of a flop, don't get me wrong. But at the same time, it's like, it's Raheem Sterling. He's a good player. Like, there is a possibility he could come good in this part of the season. We don't know. But I don't think we should just be... I would be very disappointed in the club and in Arteta if they turn around and go, well, we've got Sterling, so that's fine. I think they do need to go out and at least bring in one player. If it is somebody like a Vlahovic, or I don't think we're going to get Gyökeres. There's no chance in hell I don't think we're going to get Gyökeres. Definitely not going to get Šeško in terms of like an out-and-out striker, because he said he wants to stay at Leipzig until the end of the season. I think we're probably, I think that's what we've got to aim for. We've got to try and aim to get one attacking player in, and I think it's more important that we get someone on that right side as a backup to Saka rather than an out-and-out striker. A goal-scoring winger is what I think we need more than a striker. I think the striker could probably wait until the summer, because I think I've said this before, and I'll say it again, that I think there's some of the analysis from fans out there, particularly the ones in the sort of famous fan bracket, the fan influencers, it's always very pedestrian. It's always like FIFA. They always seem to think that FIFA/EAFC is like real life, and all you need to do is go there with whatever money you've got. They don't talk about profit and loss. They don't talk about sustainability. They don't talk about any of that stuff. It's just, we have the money, go and pay it. And then because, the computer AI will say, the 3D version of whatever the manager of the club is will come in and say, oh yeah, we'll accept your offer. And then the player will be yours. And it's not really how it works like that. January is well known for being a difficult month. A difficult transfer window to get players in. I think we still should, but I can't guarantee that we will. I'm hoping we do, because like I said in the last preview for Brentford, we need to do sort of what Spurs did in that season when we went for top four competing with them. They signed Kulusevski and that sort of like changed their season. So yeah, that's what we need to do. But yeah, at the same time, I don't like this sort of pedestrian video game type analysis that people do, where they're like, or this opinion. There are people who are entitled to their opinion, as I always say, but I find it illogical to be like, we just need to sign players. Everything comes down to signing players, and it's sort of like, well, Liverpool. Arne Slot inherited a really good Liverpool side, which were in the lead in the title for a long time last season, until they fell away. But the players were still there, and Arne Slot didn't sign anybody. And look what they're doing. They're looking like they're going to go on and win the league. I'm not necessarily the reason why I would sort of, sympathize with that opinion around signing players is because it's clear that like injuries and our general levels haven't been good enough this season. So we probably will need to strengthen a little bit. But I don't think the answer is always sign players. That's the only thing. The other thing that's sort of pissing me off is the sort of, I've said it before, I know I keep saying this until I'm blue in the face, is the sort of, diehard anti-Arteta people that can't wait for him to fail. The ones that literally are now blaming him for Saka's injury and blaming him for the injuries we've had this season and all this sort of stuff. And it's sort of like, it's the same people that used to say, I've heard this was 3 seasons ago, I think, where somebody, I won't name names, but somebody turned around and said, oh, you don't see many black people in Arteta's teams. Arteta's racist and all this sort of stuff. And it's like, can you really sink that low? You really, and it was almost as if he was taking advantage of all the craziness that was going on in 2020, where, the grifters got a little bit more power, and it's almost as if like the shame will sink no lower. It's just like, oh yeah, well, let me take advantage of everyone talking about this subject at the moment and try and get Arteta cancelled so he's not the manager anymore. It's just feeble, like, and people like that will turn around and say I'm twerking for the club and all this sort of stuff, and that I care more about Arteta than I do Arsenal, which isn't true, because I've been there from I've been there from when we were winning, when we were in the highs, when we were winning trophies every other season, when we were playing probably the best football in the world. Still say that we should have won the Champions League that year that we got to the final against Barcelona. And I was there in the bad times. I was there when we lost 6-0 on Wenger's 1,000th game. Not necessarily in the ground, but I saw that game. I saw the 8-2 against Man United. I was also equally elated when we won that first FA Cup and, beat Hull 3-2 after coming back from 2-0 down. I think it's just daft to sit there and say, well, if you defend Arteta, then therefore you're just a club shill. And it's like, come on, man. Like, nobody is a better fan than anyone else. Like, we're all fans in our own right. We all support the club differently. And if you feel that the only way to reinvent the sort of invincible days is not to have Arteta, fine, but don't make everyone else feel like shit and feel like a dick for being quote unquote Arteta in, because I'm not necessarily Arteta in. I just recognize the fact that from where we were when he took over to where we are now, it sort of is leaps and bounds in difference. It's chalk and cheese essentially, and it's just pissing me off a little bit that, like, they can't wait. These are so-called supporters. They cannot wait for Arteta to fail or for the team to lose so Arteta can be sacked. It's ridiculous to me, just to be proven right. Like, how badly can you want to be proven right that you would literally sacrifice your support of the club just for that? It is absolutely ridiculous to me. And at the end of the day, there will be a day where Arteta will leave, and he'll either leave in glory or he'll leave in disgrace. Kind of like Emery and to some extent Wenger did. I wouldn't say Wenger left in disgrace, but he left with a not so, compared to like Alex Ferguson, it wasn't quite Jose Mourinho. I mean, Jose Mourinho left Chelsea in disgrace, but it wasn't quite the same. Obviously, it wasn't the same level as Sir Alex Ferguson, who left winning the league. Arsenal as a footballing side was in a really bad place when Wenger left, and Emery also left as well when the team was in a really bad place. So it's going to go one or the other, and eventually they'll get their wish, and we'll be talking about another manager. And the same thing will happen again. Where, those that didn't want him on the other side, that are sort of like the diehard Arteta-ins, they will want that manager out. It's always the way of it. It's just the fickle way of people, the way people do things nowadays. That, in politics, in culture, football, sport, there seems to be this binary idea of you're on this side or you're on this side. And it's like, well, there's nuance to everything. We live in a world that isn't as straightforward as just this is this and this is that. It's more complicated than that. Like, as I've said, my position on Arteta is I think he's done a really good job, but, this is the season where he's going to be questioned if, we haven't either broke even for this season or we've done better than last season. This is where I've sort of gone, that's where I'll be like, at the end of the season, that's where I'll judge him. I'm not going to judge him now. Because it's not that bad. We've had a few bad performances this season and things haven't gone our way. As James McNicholas said, Gunner blog, the luck of the draw, the sort of like big decisions haven't gone our way this season compared to last season, and that's essentially it. Like, that's part of it. Luck is a big part of this whole footballing lark, as you call it. But anyway, I'll stop ranting now. Brighton, yeah, I think, as I said after Brentford, we need to win this game. Liverpool play Man United on Sunday. We need to win just to sort of like make that game mean something, because I think if we drop points, Liverpool will probably go and play with freedom. They know they don't necessarily need to win the game to pull away from Arsenal and Chelsea. I think if we win and we take the gap to 3 points, you can't complain with that, to be honest. Like, it's a better position than we were in October. It's a much better position than we were in October and November. If we manage to do this, if we manage to get it at least to 3 points, I know it will be 6 points if Liverpool beat United on Sunday. But yeah, we've just got to keep in the hunt at the moment. Yeah, that's all we've got to do. I think, again, on paper, and I think, Brighton's results have been very indifferent recently in the past couple of games. I think they've been up and down from what I remember. They're in 10th at the moment. I didn't realise that. They've drawn 4 and lost 1. So they lost to Crystal Palace, drew with West Ham, Brentford, Aston Villa and Leicester. So yeah, so that means it's probably going to be a frustrating game. But yeah, I think we definitely do need to put in another good similar performance as we did against Brentford, and we need to win this game to just put that pressure on. I don't feel I feel better now that I feel a little bit better, despite the fact that some results and performances haven't been great this season. I am still sort of like, well, at least we're not being chased by Man City. We're sort of doing the chasing at the moment. And the next league game is the North London derby at the Emirates. So yeah, it's vital that we win this, and then it's into the cup competitions, which is a whole nother story. But yeah, I think I can win it. As I said earlier on in the season, I'm not going to do score predictions because I always get it wrong. So yeah, I think we can win it. I think we just need to do similar to what we did against Brentford. I think. I don't think Brighton will frustrate as much as Brentford did. But yeah, they've got dangerous players as well. No doubt about it. They've got dangerous players. You look at their starting lineup. Lamptey, Lewis Dunk's a decent defender. They've got João Pedro, who caused us problems at the Emirates. They've got some good players. They've got some really good players, and I've always, since they've come to the Premier League, I've always liked them as a side. So yeah, I've apart from that season with Mopé, I've always sort of liked them as a side. And Brighton's also a nice place, despite the fact that it's. I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say what I was thinking there. Cool. All right, I'm going to leave it there. I will be back after the game on Saturday, hopefully, if I get home in time, because I'm traveling home after Christmas and New Year. So yeah, I will speak to you then, hopefully. Like and subscribe, and take care and stay safe.